Yes, Matt, welcome to the Empowered Coach podcast. I'm your host, Richard Dale. My guest today is Matt Sirott from Wimbledon, UK. Really, really good to meet you, Matt. Thanks for jumping on. So let's jump straight into it. Love to find out a bit about you, your background, what you're kind of currently up to, whether you work in person or as an online coach or a bit of both.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah, so I started in the commercial gym as most PTs do and quickly realized that it wasn't a sustainable kind of format for me. It felt more like a sales job than coaching. And it was a lot of the time selling people dreams to get them to purchase the biggest packages and things like that. I thought there's got to be a better way. So I tried to make the transition to online. And it was slow at first. I kind of had this thought in my head that it was going to instantly just blow up. Decided to pick a niche when I went into online space, picked golf fitness, got certified and all of that. And then again, had kind of transitioned back into all sorts of goals for people because I was trying to fit into a slot that it wasn't really me. It wasn't the reason I got into coaching. It wasn't what I was passionate about. So now I'm finally at a place where I'm coaching everyone and anyone that wants to, trying to make it as cheap and accessible as possible so that there's not that salesy side of it. People can see the value and decide to stay, or they don't, and that's fine. There's someone else out there for them. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at now. But yeah, it's not easy online.
I think that you like what you're spoken about there is probably the biggest problem that coaches face, particularly when they move online from a place where they're in person serving everyone. And then, you jump online, you do your research, and the first thing that people tell you to do is niche down.
Yeah.
It's a really, really tough kind of mental thing where you've served different genders, different ages, different sports to be like, what the hell do I pick? Like, where do I even start? So you went for like a golf niche, and then you've pivoted back to more of a broad kind of help everyone's scenario.
Yeah, so I mean, the reason I got into fitness was because it was always a constant thing that was there, but I didn't necessarily fall into line with the conventional like bodybuilding split in the gym. Just wasn't for me. I like working out at home with kettlebells and steel maces and steel clubs and trying new things and finding the fun in exercise and it not becoming a chore.
Mm.
As soon as I did the certification, I kind of fell into that funnel of this is what a PT does. This is how you need to be. But there's a million ways to skin a cat. And just because you've been told one way, it doesn't mean it's the only way. And a lot of people, I think that's where they lose confidence in the gym or lose that consistency because they're forcing themselves into doing something they don't actually enjoy. Where you can try different things and actually go, this is fun. This doesn't feel like torture and I'm getting results because I'm actually happy to show up and do it every day. So I finally kind of pivoted back to that. Still throw a bit of the golf fitness stuff in there because, I mean, why waste a certification? But yeah, I'm finally in a place where I'm like confident with what I'm putting out. And you've discussed this, like I don't have that imposter syndrome feeling now because it's something that I'm confident in and I practice myself. So it's no longer like trying to fit into the mold.
Yeah, yeah. And I think sometimes when we do get that imposter syndrome, it is maybe a signal that we are heading down the wrong path. Like we're trying to be something because we believe that's what we should be doing. And when we log on to social media, we see other people doing stuff and we see coaches doing well. We think, right, okay, that must be the thing that I have to do. But if it's out of alignment with what you enjoy doing or what you think gets people results or what you enjoy, there can be that internal resistance which you can't quite put your finger on.
Yeah, 100%.
But I love the sound of the mace. I've never used the mace. I've seen people. Have you actually got one that you train with yourself?
Yeah, I've got a few different weights. I was very ambitious when I first started and thought, oh, I'm a strong boy, I can go heavy, and then was quickly humbled. But yeah, it's just fun. It's different. Even you just go outside when the sun's out, and like we got some nice weather finally, and just get a bit of movement in. You're not stuck in a gym with feeling like people are staring at you and judging you. And it's, but I mean, don't get me wrong, I enjoy going to a gym still and doing stuff. But it's just my kind of mission is to be like to people. There's not just one way to train. try it. If you don't like it, then try something else.
What sort of clients do you find you like to help the most?
It's that's a tough question because there's been so many varieties of people that on the surface you kind of think like, oh, they might be a bit of trouble or this might not be a good fit for me. And then they end up being your star client. It's like you can never really pinpoint before
Mm,
you start who's actually going to be the best client. And it's anyone that's really receptive to actual change and understands that this isn't a quick fix. And in general, to get fit and stay fit, it's a lifelong commitment. It's not get a big horse in 6 weeks like they put on Instagram. It's like that's it's a pipe dream. And the ones that kind of rationalize it and go, okay, it might be slow to start out with, but eventually all my friends are going to fall by the wayside who haven't been training, and I'm going to be the fittest looking 40-plus-year-old there is. So yeah, I think it's more of a mindset, and a lot of the time it is a switch. Once they start training, they kind of realize like, I know I'm starting to get into it. It's not hard now. And then you suddenly go like, oh, this is the person I want to train. This is
yeah.
like they've come out of their shell a little bit.
All of your clients you work with online now?
I've got a few in person, and I've currently been in discussion with a gym locally. I'm going to start going and doing classes and a bit of in person there as well. So again, with online, I'm not sure if you can relate to this, but there's such a disconnect sometimes with anyone that gets into coaching and PTN and anything like that. Chances are they like speaking to people and interacting with people. And a lot of the time you lose that with the online and you lose that connection. And like it's great speaking over the computer like we're doing or over the phone, but sometimes there's not really that in-person face-to-face that just scratches that itch. So I've kind of been wanting to get back into more like a hybrid position.
Yeah, I think there's this pipe dream that a lot of coaches have of I'll go fully online and then I'll travel the world. And that can work to a period, but often what happens is there's this realization that you miss those face-to-face interactions and those conversations and the banter of just being sociable, because that's like
Yeah,
one of our essential needs as a human. Now, you can, if you're smart, you can try and incorporate some community element into your coaching program so you can still have that. But I definitely would agree that actually having a hybrid approach where you've got some in-person stuff that you do and some online can kind of tick both boxes because you're not working, 40, 50 hours in the gym.
yeah,
You can supplement your income, but you still get benefits of both.
yeah. It's also I didn't want to lose that ability to coach in person because it is very different and you do have to kind of work out different cues and like you can't do necessarily you're not watching them do it essentially. It's harder to make sure they're doing correct form. It's a lot of like monkey see, monkey do, watch me do this video and try and replicate that.
Yeah.
Even going back to in person, I was a little bit nervous that maybe like might be a little rusty. I haven't done this in a while. But I mean, it's like riding a bike and comes back to you, and it feels good to be.
Yeah. What would you say is different about your approach to training, to exercise, to living a healthy lifestyle? If you were pitching this to a client and saying, this is how I like to work.
Yeah, I think the approach I've always gone for is maybe to a fault being too honest and realistic about expectations. It's like, I don't want to, or so I should say, if I wanted to get you results, I could tell you, eat X amount, don't drink, don't go out, don't eat anything other than what I've prescribed to you. Do this routine, don't miss a day. And that person's quality of life is going to plummet. Yeah, they're going to see amazing results, but at what cost? Whereas I've always been the approach of like, if you want to go out and get pissed, you got to understand that it is going to affect your gains, but you're not competing on a stage. If you were, you would already be in that mindset. So let's find a routine that works for you that doesn't compromise on what you enjoy. Going out and socialize and eating out if you want to, getting a takeaway, sitting in bed all day. Like there's finding that perfect balance. I think some people almost respond better online to the guy with a massive six pack and veins coming out of his eyes going, you do this and you'll get strong and you'll look like me. It always seems so disingenuous to me. So I thought, let me go for the approach where I'll speak to you like a human being. I'm not a salesman. That's not why I got into this. And let's come up with something that actually works for you.
Yeah, I think sometimes that Instagram perfect six pack, zero body fat can be a turn off and can be quite intimidating for some
Mm.
people. It depends on the goal, doesn't it? Like you say, if you're looking to get into a competition, you're going to go for a coach that looks like they've been in a competition, right? But most people that are looking for an online coach are, either at the beginning of their fitness journey or they're just not getting results with what they're currently doing. So actually just having that one person that's a few steps ahead of them, but not like unrealistic, I think can be quite attractive to some people. And I think that's the right approach to have, and just have confidence that that is the right approach, not feel that you have to be this muscle bulging coach that is living his dream life in Dubai to be attractive to work with.
Yeah. I mean, that's probably one of my biggest pet peeves on the online spaces where the people that you see a lot of success on coaches by trade or anything, they just have a good body themselves and sell programs based on just what they do. But that's what people don't realize is a good coach is going to write you a specific plan for you, your goals, your lifestyle, your abilities, and just selling programs based on that guy looks fit. It's like there is a line, but always try and lean towards knowledge over just looking good.
Yeah, I think there's definitely an aspect that you have to look the part, but you don't have to be having your top off driving a Lambo in Dubai, right?
Yeah,
But sex sells, and it's like, especially on Instagram, if you get scantily clad bodies that are on the beach, like that does something to someone's brain where they're like, I want that,
yeah,
But equally, if you just connect with real value and demonstrate that you know what you're talking about, and break down some of those belief barriers that people have got, and you just start conversations just like you do in the gym, then you can pick up clients just as easily. Is there a client story that you want to share, like you're really proud about, of someone that you've worked with, and like where they were when they started with you, and where they got to or where they are now?
yeah. I mean, to be honest, I'm proud of every client I've ever had, regardless how small the impact I had on their lives is. I think I've always felt kind of honored that, again, with that imposter syndrome, I've almost felt like, oh my God, this person picked me. So I'm always very grateful and impressed by everyone. But I think the one that stands out to me as my first ever client in the commercial gym was this lady doctor, in her 70s, I think, still working quite consistently, doing night shifts, sleeping on a little cot bed, and
Wow.
couldn't get up from the couch, couldn't do anything. She'd come for our PT session. I'd find her asleep in her car in the car park. And just the excitement I saw in her when the program started to work and she would call my name and show me her running up the stairs. I was not doing a lot with her. It was also my first client, so the programming was probably terrible. Just getting her to move and do these actions that her body had kind of forgotten to do, and just how happy that made her to be able to do something as simple as walk up the stairs or get up from the couch. I was just like, okay, there is a reason to stick to this career. That often feels quite depressing and hard. And it's those little things that you go like, oh no, this is worth it.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. You can have a life-changing or life-saving impact as a coach on a client, and often we do. So yeah, you really have to hold on to those moments and remind yourself, because when it gets tough and you're thinking, why the hell am I doing this? Why don't I just get a normal job? Why don't I become a estate agent?
Yeah.
Like a boring job that seems to, a lot easier with a regular salary. But, when you're on your deathbed and you're looking back at your life, you want to be, want to remember and not have any regrets, and think, yeah, I did have an impact. You know,
Yeah.
I did make a difference. But yeah, it's a super tough industry. You get qualified as a PT and you go into a gym and you're either like on minimum wage as an employed instructor, or you're paying a ton of rent straight away. So yeah, it's not easy. It's a very undervalued space, I think. which is why naturally people are attracted by the online space because there's the potential to supplement their income too. What do you hate about the online space or like social media?
It's a long list. God, I could go off on a tangent with all the things I hate about it. But I always have to remind myself is that jealousy isn't a good look. And I tend not to be jealous over the guys who are actually good coaches and that are succeeding. Where I get annoyed is where it's idiots that have no idea what they're talking about. And for some reason, the algorithm likes them and they succeed. And they're not helping anyone. They're lying to people. They're selling quick fixes that, I mean, any coach or anyone with any workout experience would know isn't going to work. Yeah, it's a very, I mean, the PT industry in general is a very overcrowded space. Online seems to be even more saturated with idiots, and you have to really sift through to find the 1% who are genuinely out there to help and not just profit. And it's tough, but yeah, it's jealousy isn't a good look on me, so I'll try not to go too hard on it.
I think as soon as you turn on Instagram, you start scrolling. Inevitably, as an online coach, your algorithm is going to show you a load of other like online coaches because it's one of your prime interests. So sometimes it feels like complete saturation in the market because all we're ever seeing is online coaches, whereas someone else that's never expressed an interest in fitness or coaching isn't seeing anyone.
That's a
They're
good
seeing
point.
whatever they're interested in. So sometimes that can like cloud our judgment a little bit. Uh, but it's a natural response. If you're combing through posts and seeing people do well, you can't help but feel envious or jealous of like because that's what you want. That's why you're here. I always make a point of saying to people of be the creator, not the consumer,
Yeah,
because consuming too much content does no one any favors. If I find myself consuming content, I always feel worse after I've consumed. I never feel better. But it's really hard, right? You turn on Instagram, you think, oh, I'll just do a story or do a post. And before you know it, you're like, bloody hell, I've been scrolling for 10 minutes and didn't even
yeah,
realize. But it's being really conscious about how much you consume and what's healthy, and then just showing up as your authentic self and creating whatever you want to create and putting that out into the world and thinking I don't give a shit what anyone else thinks. And if you can do that, find your own lane and be consistent with it, that's where the success is.
yeah.
Obviously, like in my school group, I talk about a lot about like, utilizing ads and AI and stuff. Is that something you've dipped your toes into? Is there any AI tools that you'll use, or have you tried running any ads for your business?
You're actually my only introduction into the AI ad scene, and I'm eager to kind of follow the funnels and try and like follow the steps to see if this is something that could work for me. I haven't really dipped my toe in ads at all. I did a few boosted posts when I first started out on like Instagram and stuff, and it actually pissed me off more than it helped me because I realized that, oh, people do like my stuff as long as I pay for them to see it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
It's like
yeah.
Instagram, why don't you just show it to these people in the first place? And then I don't have to sit on my phone for 24 hours looking at two likes and one of them's me. That's soul
Yeah.
destroying. So yeah, I'm definitely interested in exploring it. And your school community has been really helpful. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that I haven't looked at yet, but yeah, I definitely need to sit down and sift through it and put it to practice.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And Meta has got us by the nuts. And I think my biggest annoyance with social media is this kind of ongoing lie that, you can make six figures just by going viral. The constant ads that you see pushing, if you can only beat the algorithm, you'll be earning six figures. But the reality is it's just not the case anymore. It might have been at one point, but year on year, that algorithm has kind of declined in reach, like in terms of showing your post to people, and it's incredibly hard to grow an Instagram account now, even if you are posting consistently, because there's so many other, like so many more users, and so much higher quality. That it's almost like the top percent of coaches, think of like the James Smiths and like
Mm,
the people that can put out really top end quality content. It almost becomes like why would someone follow me if they can follow all this highly produced stuff? Which is why you've got to try and find your own kind of angle on things and be slightly different to appeal to those people that are turned off by the James Smiths and all that sort of stuff.
yeah,
But yeah, that certainly my journey was, battling with organic to a point where I was like fed up and feeling really demotivated by, like you say, put it out and get 0 likes. Like the worst thing is when you put something together and you think, yeah, that's banging. Like I'm really, really happy with that. Then you put it out and there's just like nothing. But yeah, it's kind of like pay to play now
yeah,
in the coaching space. You have to pay to put your stuff in front of people, which, in fairness, has always been the case in business where if you want to market your business, you print some flyers off, and you pay someone to go and deliver them, or you put an ad in the newspaper. It's just Instagram and Facebook have become more of that where you just pay to get your marketing out there.
yeah,
But with ads, my advice to coaches is always have your offer locked in, have proof of concept, people are actually buying it, because sometimes coaches lean into ads because they're not kind of doing the numbers that they want or their program's not selling. But if you do that without knowing that your program's any good, then there's so many variables you don't know whether it's your ads, your program, like what's
yeah.
going on. And as you move into that space, the key to success is actually tracking the data and knowing exactly what's going on at each stage of that funnel. But yeah, I'm glad you appreciate the community. And yeah, my aim is just to put as much kind of resource out there and debunk as many myths so like people can make like an educated decision of like whether it's right for them at the stage they're at. Cool, dude. I think we're 25 minutes in, so we'll wrap it up. I feel like I
Awesome.
could chat to you a lot longer, but want to keep these nice and short. So yeah, really appreciate your time coming on the podcast today. Best of luck with the business. I'll put your social media handles in the description of this video so people can follow you or contact you. And yeah, best of luck with everything.
Awesome. Really appreciate it.
Awesome. Take care, Matt.
Thank you. You too.